Hello, Radio Panipuri listeners. Welcome to another episode of Walk the Talk, and this is your host RJ Pramila, and with me today, eminent guest Mr. Sam Pitroda. You must be knowing him. I'm sure you must be. If you have grown up in India, you must have seen those yellow telephone boxes all across. Rupee 1, STD, and ISD. Do you remember? I remember, sir. So here we are, the man who revolutionized the telecom industry. Welcome, Mr. Sam. Welcome to Radio Panipuri.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
And first of all, Mr. Pitroda, I really would like our listeners, our visual listeners, to see this great book, Dreaming Big. This was a book which came out in October, and I think it says your autobiography and also the whole IT industry. Do you want to tell our listeners about it, please?
You know, there was a book written on me in 1992 by a friend of mine, Mayank Chaya. Then I had just gone through a heart attack, quadruple bypass. And my doctor told me that I might pull on till 2010.
He was
or
wrong.
so.
He was wrong.
So then I said, if I ever live to be 70, I'd like to do a book on my life. And then I've been thinking about it from the viewpoint of my own journey. And finally, when I had my granddaughter, I felt I ought to document my journey for my own family. Because a lot of my family members really don't know exactly what I do. So I started documenting from my childhood to coming to America with clear focus on telecom, my relationship with Rajiv Gandhi, my work with Rajiv Gandhi, on CDOT, CDAC, Telecom Commission, technology missions, and all of that, and then coming back to Chicago again after having spent about a decade with Rajiv Gandhi, and then rebuilding my life. Finally, when Manmohan Singh became Prime Minister, I went back to India to work on Knowledge Commission, Digital India, innovations. And finally, when we lost election last time, this gave me an opportunity to spend a year documenting my journey.
It is a great journey. I'm sure listeners of Chicagoland area, it is a journey which started from a tiny village from Odisha, going to Gujarat, and finally landing into Chicago. It's been many years, Mr. Pitroda. How do you build this journey from living in the US in this technological world and going into building a technology in India?
Well, you know, when I left India in 1964 to come to Chicago, I had never used the telephone in my life because I wasn't rich enough to have telephone. And if somebody had telephone, he was too rich to be my friend. I had also not seen television because we didn't have TV in those days in India. So I took a boat from Mumbai to Karachi, to Aden, to Egypt, Naples, Genova, then took a train from Genova to London, took a plane from London to New York and a bus from New York to Chicago.
It's a long journey.
It was an interesting journey. And then I was fascinated when I came here with all the technological developments, starting with doorknob to revolving doors to television, telephone. And fortunately, luck would have it, I got to work on telecom by accident. And did some interesting things here. And I strongly felt that telecom and IT would change the face of India. Because we had a lot of young talented people. And IT really doesn't need too much of equipment. You know, all you need is good brain and paper and pencil.
It's true.
So I very strongly felt that this is going to be the future for India. And more I learned about it, more I was convinced that we could build not only a strong base for 21st century, but we could also connect diverse country. When I started my work in telecom in India, we had 2 million telephones. Today we have billion telephones in a short span of 25 years. India is a country of connected billion.
That's true.
How do we use this connectivity going forward is the challenge. And not only just telecom, we also generate about $150 billion worth of software export, which is huge. And that has changed the confidence of the young people in our ability to do things.
So, Mr. Pitroda, when you came to the US, was the intention to work, or did you also do your higher studies here?
I had a master's in physics. I came here to get a PhD in physics and then changed my mind and did a master's in electrical engineering and worked part-time for PhD at Illinois Institute of Technology. So I lived in Chicago for 51 years. This is my home.
And Radio Pani Puri also has its home in Chicago, and we are really so proud and honored to be talking to you, Mr. Pitroda.
Thank you.
The journey for 51 years has spanned two governments in India, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi and Mr. Manmohan Singh.
I also worked briefly for VP Singh, Narasimha Rao, Devi Gowda, Inder Gujral. So I, spent a little bit of time here and there, but the main two big pieces were during Congress time, one with Rajiv Gandhi, 10 years, another one is Manmohan Singh for 10 years.
What were the biggest challenges you had faced when you had started this initiative, this big dream to be started in India?
First of all, I really didn't know what I was getting into. If I had known everything I know about India today, I would have probably never started it. So I believe ignorance can be a great asset. I went to Delhi in 1979, early 80, tried to make a phone call to my wife and couldn't call. So a little bit of arrogance and a lot of ignorance said, I'm going to fix this. Plus, I was committed to telecom. I had this desire to see if I could get a chance to connect India. And that gave me an opportunity. Then, it was too early to think of privatization, globalization, technology. India was locked up in tradition. So that transition from tradition to technology was difficult. It was very difficult to convince people that technology will help us. It was very difficult to convince people that you needed outside input, private industry. But I had great support from Rajiv Gandhi.
I'm sure.
He not only gave meaning to my own life, but he also gave me great support in getting it done. He had the political will.
And Mr. Pitroda, that will with you and Mr. Gandhi shaped up the future of India. And today what we see that people are being connected are the fruits of the seed which you had sown. Did you feel a lot of difference in working from the US and India because you have the best of both?
Absolutely. A big difference in work culture, work ethics, work norms, work values, work environment, work conditions. But fortunately, I work with a lot of young people.
Okay.
So young talent in India was flexible. They were willing to learn. They were full of energy, enthusiasm. They had aspirations going forward. So I think working with Indian young was the key. And that opened door for me. And with political will from Rajiv Gandhi, I got fair amount of support from bureaucracy, political bosses. I had resistance here and there, but that's normal. I would say overall the support of the people of India was phenomenal.
India has grown leaps and bounds, but do you still feel that there is more to be done and our present government can do more into this field?
Oh, there is a lot to be done in India. I think the real journey begins now.
True.
You know, we have really laid the foundation in telecom, IT, but we have a lot to do in education, health, energy, infrastructure. I think basic problem is mindset. You know, our mindset is still locked up in the past. We quickly go back to our tradition. We resist change. We want to find answers in religion, in our, you know, history, as opposed to looking at the future.
So even the young generation today, you feel, are bogged by tradition, religion, culture, and so on and so forth?
Young are free for a while, but then when they get into the system for 5 years, 10 years, they get converted because the sheer force of tradition in India is so very huge. You get sucked into it.
It's unfortunate, actually. It's very unfortunate.
But there is a lot of hope. There is great deal of hope mainly because of two things today. One, young talent, and two, technology. Today, technology, not just in IT and telecom, but also in biotech, nanotech, materials, offer unique advantage to solve problems differently. You know, take for example food. Today, with genetically modified food, biofertilizers, drip irrigation, you know, and lots of other technologies, we can substantially improve productivity and efficiency in food production. Longevity has increased,
Yes.
infant mortality has decreased, immunization, take for example. We have been able to eradicate polio completely from India.
Absolutely.
You know, those are all the benefits coming out of technology. So if we just focus for next 50 years on technology, on young talent, I think we can build a prosperous country for a large number of people. Today, Indian prosperity has not percolated down.
It has not, but it has a long way to go further too. So any insight from how the US culture works, the US technology is permeating everywhere? Can we bring this to India sooner? How can we help? How can the Chicagoans
I think
help?
technology has become more global.
Sure.
So technology is basically problem solving. You know, it is not something US, urban, elite, exotic, fancy. You know, of course, there are a lot of interesting things going on in this society because of the investments made in defense and R&D and universities, which no one else can make. US has the infrastructure for innovation, you know. But a lot of these technologies are global. So how do we take these technologies and really begin to make a huge difference in India? We need generational change and not incremental change.
And the whole mindset change.
And we need mindset change. But for that, on one hand, we need to focus on education, health, infrastructure, agriculture, food, housing, basic needs. On the other hand, we also need to worry about administrative reforms, judiciary reforms, political reforms, financial reforms, labor reforms.
And bureaucracy?
That's part of administrative reforms. But you know, world over, I am finding today that the real challenge is inclusion.
How is that?
See, even in America, with all the development, African Americans are not included in the mainstream. Latin Americans are not included in the mainstream. So there is this segregation all over the world. You go look at how, you know, Middle Eastern people live in Europe. Okay. In India, look at how Dalits live.
Yes, there's still the caste
Okay.
segmentation.
So you really have a huge challenge to create inclusive society in which everybody is given a chance, society in which not only well-to-do upper caste get the main advantage. I mean, look at what we have done in last 50 years in the world. You have 1% of the people who control 60-70% of the world resources.
It's absolutely
They are the
correct.
richest, people 60 billion, 70 billion, and then there are billions who don't even have $60.
No, 2 square meals are also difficult.
So I think that is the challenge in front of all of us, and that's where technology has to come to rescue.
Let me also ask you, Mr. Pitroda, you did mention that there's segregation here in the US. There's African Americans or maybe Hispanics. Do you feel that the people of the Indian origin here have a place or have made a place in technology?
I think Indians here have made a place, name recognition, mainly because of education. A lot of people who come from India are highly educated. They're engineers, doctors, scientists, academicians. And when they go into the existing systems which are established, well-oiled, they flourish. But people don't realize that India has invested huge amount of resources in these people in education.
Yes.
Take, for example, doctors. There are, I'm told, 40,000 doctors of Indian origin in America.
That's correct.
Okay.
Roughly.
We were taking, few thousand. So if you take one doctor and say each doctor in this country would require $500,000 to go through education, 4 years of college, 4 years of this. So you take $500,000 per doctor, multiply that by 40,000.
That's an investment from India.
That's a huge investment from India. You know what that number is?
It's a huge number, and that can benefit, I can say, millions more.
That is close to $200 billion.
Mr. Pitroda, you have been an example to many. After spending so many years here, you actually went and invested your time, your efforts, your energy in India. Do you feel that the people of the Indian origin who are here, who are getting all of these benefits, they can also do their needful as required in India?
It's up to individual. Working in India is not easy.
It's not difficult either.
It's not difficult either, but you need commitment and you need to give. See, what happens is, having worked here for a while, people want to take. India doesn't have much to give unless you are in business. If you are a teacher, you have to give. If you are a doctor, you have to give. Okay? If you are a social worker, you have to give. And many people don't want to give. If you are a professor here and making 200,000, you can't make 200,000 in India.
No.
So it's up to individual saying, do I want to go back to India to give, or I want to go back to India to take? That's a fundamental issue.
But certainly our youngsters, our new generations, or anyone who has a willingness to give can learn a lot. Again, Mr. Pitroda is the best example, and his book, Dreaming Big, will influence us, motivate us to do whatever we can in whatever percentage is available in our capacity. Mr. Pitroda, I was reading your excerpts from your website, and I did not know a small hobby of yours. Well, not a small hobby, a huge hobby. You are an artist.
I paint a little bit. I'm not trained painter, but I paint. I've been painting for almost 50 years.
That's not a small one, and
It's okay.
and I also know that you have many. You had many exhibitions too.
Yeah, I had one in Paris last year or year before. I had one in Austria. I had one in Chicago maybe a decade or 15 years ago, just a small one.
So, in this busy schedule of communicating between two countries, where do you find the time?
Painting for me is my personal space. I can go in the basement, lock myself, and work quietly, and that gives me special time to myself. You know, most of my time goes in thinking, working, writing, reading. So painting takes that away because I have no other hobbies. You know, I
That
don't see
itself is
movies, I don't go to parties, I'm not a social animal. You know, so painting gives me little, time to relax.
Listeners, if you are seeing this program or if you're hearing this program, please do check out the website for Mr. Sam Pitroda. You will have great glimpses of all the work he has done, not only in the field of academics, technology, art, but a lot more he has to give. Mr. Pitroda, Chicago community is full of South Asian people. Through our radio channel, we really want to give you a message. What do you want to let our listeners, our viewers know about what they can do or what they can learn from you?
I would basically say go read the book,
Sure.
because the book talks about what one individual born and raised in a small little tribal village in Orissa, born almost 74 years ago, can do, and the joy of doing it. It is a great journey, not journey of one individual like me, but it is also a journey of a nation. It talks about the journey of India. It takes you through India of 1942 to India today. How we got here, what happened. It is my version of it, and it talks about Indian politics, Indian ethos, Indian challenges. And I think it will be an interesting reading for a lot of young people, not only studying engineering and technology and science, but also studying leadership. It is a study in leadership.
And overcome challenges.
Yes, it's an interesting book, not because I wrote it, but because the journey has been very interesting.
So listeners, I have ordered this book today and you will find all this information as to where you can purchase them, and I also came to know it is also going to be available in paperback. Do check out. It's an interesting book which is going to change your life. Yes, life in the sense in what we are doing, to give the accomplishment, to give the satisfaction. It's not only about giving or taking, it's about sharing. Am I right, Mr. Pitroda?
It is also a journey of one of your colleagues in Chicago.
The oldest colleague, I think.
That's
Your
right.
journey 50 years in Chicago. Chicago has changed tremendously.
You better believe it. When I came here, there were only 500, 600 people of Indian origin.
And now I think every second,
200,000.
people, you glance here and there and you find all South Asian people.
But that's great. It
That's
makes
great.
you feel good. And there are a lot of smart young kids, second generation, third generation, making great contribution. My compliments to all of them.
With that, Mr. Pitroda, what are your future projects? What else are you doing that our listeners can know about it?
Well, as I said earlier, I am 74. I know
You're a young person,
But
in
I
the
know
world
I
of
have limited
technology.
time. I know I have limited time, but I do spend a lot of time in India. I run about 8 non-profit organizations out of Chicago, Washington, Paris, India. I run a food bank in India. So one part of mine relates to non-profit. Second part of mine relates to launching new businesses in US, small.
Technology based.
Technology based, Third part of my life relates, which is the main part, to India. I
Growth.
still go to India, work with people, work with, colleagues. So these are 3 main parts of my life: India, business, and non-profit.
The giving part of it.
It just keeps me busy, I would say.
Are you also currently involved in the present government in either educating or consulting?
I am not involved in the present government. I was never involved in consulting.
Okay.
I officially worked for the Prime Minister both times. This government has a different, agenda, and I respect that. People of India have selected this government. More power to them. And it is time for them to do the way they want to do it. And there are other capable people in the country, and it is time for them to contribute. You know, I'm not the only one.
Absolutely, and the key thing is to make growth, establishing growth, and it doesn't matter what government it is or
Exactly.
who you are.
Absolutely.
Mr. Pitrodi, you mentioned you don't watch movies, you don't want, you have not other significant hobbies, but Radio Pani Puri would really want to know, did you ever love music? Did you ever listen to the radio?
Of course, of course. When I was a young one, I, listened to Binaka Geetmala. I listened to all kinds of interesting music. How could you not? Indian music makes your life.
Yes.
You know, and while I was in love with my girlfriend, my God, all the Indian romantic songs, I remember. How could I forget? I'm also a normal human being.
So this is an aspect maybe our listeners did not know. So Mr. Pitroda, in today's segment, we are going to play all your favorite music. You
Oh, that's
tell us
great.
and we will play it for you.
Okay, I love a lot of songs. Oh my God.
You name it and it will be there today.
Okay. I'll have to remember.
That's fine,
You know,
and-
I remember songs from Mahal.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I love, songs there. I love
60s, 70s.
60s, mainly 60s and 50s.
Rajesh Khanna era.
No, before
No.
that.
Uh,
Oh, Rajesh Khanna came.
Rajendra Kumar, Sanjay Dutt's dad actually.
Yeah, Sunil
Sunil
Dutt was
Dutt.
a friend.
Asha Parekh, Mumtaz.
Before Dilip Kumar,
Dilip
Raj
Kumar.
Kapoor,
Got it.
Waiza Rahman, Madhubala, Kishore Kumar, Hemant Kumar. Those were the days. I can give you a list if you want.
Oh, of course. And listeners, it's such a treat to hear Mr. Pitroda. He says he's 74. I don't believe it at all. He is the young man of today. The young man who's telling us a lot through his book. I am going to read it. I think I'm going to receive this in a couple of days.
Sure.
And I
I
request
can get you a
all of
copy
you
here.
to get this book, read it, and do what you can. And yes, have a hobby. Look at his paintings and do what we can. Mr. Pitroda, it has been a wonderful day for me to talk to you.
Well,
and
thank you for coming all the way here. Really appreciate your time. And I'm delighted to be part of your show. Okay.
So listeners, you are listening to and viewing Radio Pani Puri. This is your host RJ Promila and our esteemed guest Mr. Sam Pitroda. Thank you once again for your time for Radio Pani Puri. Last question, any messages for our listeners here?
No, first thing I would say is good luck to you. I'm delighted you have started this program and wish you all the best and keep doing it because in 60s we had started a radio program.
That is another thing we did not
60s.
know. Wow.
At IIT we were all together, so we used to have those tape recorders with big tapes. So we had a friend Madhu Mehta. He had a tape recorder, so we decided we'll launch a radio program.
In the college, in the university
The
campus.
university campus for Chicago.
Wow.
So we did that for a while. Yeah.
What was the name of that? Did you
I
have?
don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. It was once a week, Indian songs.
See, we have
Yeah.
come full circle, and I'm so glad that the trend which Mr. Pitroda started in telecom, in the music industry, is here also. So proud to have you, Mr. Pitroda.
And wish you all the best and wish
And-
all your listeners good luck.
And dreaming big, everyone.
Thank you.